Boom, baby. Let's go. Birds get the win. Welcome to First and Feathers, Stream Punk Entertainment on the Pennsylvania channel, on the Stream Punk channel, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, 28 to 22. Welcome, everybody. What is going on? Let's jump right into it. Eagles back in the NFC Championship game, going to be hosting. That's right, folks. Hosting the Washington Commanders. I don't call them the Commanders. I know a lot of people don't call them the Commanders as well. Call them Skins. But we got an NFC East showdown in the NFC Championship game next week. Whoo! How's everyone feeling tonight? After this, my blood is boiling. I'm hyped. Let's get right into talking about this one and breaking it down. Yeah, let's start from the beginning, right? We knew this one was going to be a snow game. We knew weather was going to play a part, and it did. It did. It took a little bit longer than what they were talking about when it was going to be playing a part. But nonetheless, that second half, the weather played a huge, huge factor in this. How many drop balls did you see from the Los Angeles Rams? I mean, Puka had a drop. Yeah, you saw them in that final drive where the Eagles obviously went super prevent defense so early. Shouldn't have gone prevent defense that early towards the end, because this is what you got. You got this high blood pressure moment where they're in the red zone, where all it takes is a field goal. I thought Elliott missing 2 extra points. Yeah, he was clutch. He was clutch for the field goals, which I won't take that away from him. I won't take that away from him. But this was, it was almost costly, those missed extra points. Because if the Rams go down and get a touchdown on that final drive, an extra point is the difference in what we're talking about here. But you know what? Why put a damper? Why put a damper on this? All right. So my goal, what I wanted to see them do, run Saquon, run. Had what, 26 carries, 255, Eagles franchise record last time, week 12 against the Rams. And he didn't fail. He didn't let down. He didn't. He exactly why the Eagles went out and got him, and why everyone in Philadelphia is laughing at the Giants GM for this gift. Open up the game with a little play action. I liked the fact that they went pass to open the game when the field was dry, the weather wasn't playing an impact, right? They open up this one with a what we got here. Open up this one with the play action, and then a little pass to Devontae Smith, and then you had the Hurts run, right? Hurts 44-yard touchdown run. I don't know about you guys, but I'm thinking, oh my gosh, this is getting ready to be one of those games. These guys are going to run wild all over them. And it didn't. It wasn't run wild, and this didn't get out of hand, obviously, because the Rams were able to answer. Stafford came down and then missed field goal on that as well. So it was 6-0 after this. It was 6-0. And then Higbee gets the touchdown pass from Stafford. And share this out real quick. Hold on. And I'm thinking, all right, This is going to be one of those games. It's going to be back and forth, almost like last night's game for the Commanders and Detroit. That's what I thought we were getting ready to have here. Luckily, it wasn't quite that offensive of a shootout. But then what was it on that drive? That was the coach's challenge. Higbee, it looked like it great camera angles. Can't be mad at NBC for having the good correct camera angles because it showed there. Yeah, Higbee caught the ball. Good coach's challenge by McVay. There, they then get the 4th and 1 conversion with from Kyron Williams, and they go on to score. They get the touchdown from Higbee, and they're up. They make the extra point. Quinion went out, and it showed. Quinion left with an injury in a shoulder injury in the first quarter. And I'm not gonna lie, I think if I want to stop and talk about this because this is a big loss. This is a big loss. Rodgers, when the weather wasn't playing a factor in the first half, Rodgers got exposed on some passes, and it was bad. Yeah, he had the big fumble recovery later on in the game, but if it wasn't for the weather playing a factor in helping out in some issues to help disguise the loss of Quinion Mitchell, this this could be a big factor next week against the Commanders while dealing with scary Terry McLaurin. So something to think about. Hopefully his shoulder isn't a serious deal and he's able to, it was more of a precaution. Don't chance it going back out there in this weather. Hopefully that's what that is. AJ Brown dropped that pass. What a beautiful pass that Jalen Hurts had. And you don't get many of those. You don't get many beautiful passes, pinpoint, on time, good delivery. And that was a business decision. I feel like that pass from Hurts to AJ Brown. Whatever. They get the unnecessary roughness call on Devontae Smith. That gets him down there or gets the 15-yard penalty. And then Saquon gets the first of his 2 big touchdown runs, 62-yard touchdown run on that one. What I expected. The biggest offensive line in the league showed itself. I think it was a great way to start out with Hurts getting that RPO sort of, realizing he saw the defensive end. He saw the edge rusher go with Saquon. He held it, and they went back and showed the Jordan Mailata on that touchdown run. He didn't have no one to block. That's how well run it was. And I think that went into Saquon's 62-yard touchdown run. But that makes it 13-7. Elliott makes the extra point on that one. And we have a ball game, right? Second quarter, Eagles force a field goal. CJGJ gets in the backfield and causes the Rams to force a field goal or to kick a field goal, make it 13-10. Saquon gets that. This is when they had the ball in the Eagles backfield. They had that screen pass to Barkley. Barkley got it in the end zone, got that big first down. They kind of gave him some breathing room, which was nice. And that's when the snow started, in my opinion, to really make an impact. It started to come down, and Mother Nature started to make an impact in this one, which was in favor of Philadelphia. You can't deny it. It worked out. in their favor. And this is, I was one of the people who was saying, go get this record, Saquon. I wish they would have. Hindsight is what, 2020, what they say, right? So it's nice that they did, because now Detroit's knocked out. The road to the Super Bowl goes through Philadelphia. And now hopefully these guys are able to use that home field advantage next week. And I don't think the weather, I don't think the weather is supposed to be anything. I haven't seen anything with it. No. So yeah, so the weather started making an impact, and you started seeing drop balls from what, AJ Brown had that one drop pass that would have been a touchdown more than likely. That was his second one. The Hail Mary that didn't happen at the end of the second quarter. I don't know how much of that had the weather to do with it, whether than it more than it was Jalen Hurts holding on to the ball too long. But nonetheless, 13-10 heading into halftime. And this guy right here was driving me nuts. Rookie out of Florida State, Jared Verse, dominated the Eagles offensive line in this weather. I want to go to his, had 4 total tackles. They were all solo. 2 sacks, 3 tackles for loss. He was a menace. He was the one who was commenting about how much he can't stand Eagles fans going into this one, how much he can't stand seeing the colors, how much he can't stand hearing them and everything. He was very vocal with the fans. I thought it was a good playoff atmosphere. That's what you want. And at the end of the day, the Eagles were the ones who stood on top. But shout out to the rookie Jared Verse. I believe he's probably going to get the rookie of the year, defensive rookie of the year. But he did. He dominated in this one, but it wasn't enough. The Eagles open up the second half with that massive 3-and-out. It would have been huge for the Eagles to pick up that first down, or a first down on the following drive. But Hurts and Brown and AJ, they weren't on the same page. Hurts clearly looked like he wanted AJ to do an out, and AJ went slant. Didn't work, obviously. Then Cooper on the following drive had that big catch on Isaiah Rodgers, and that was, for me, one of the first times that there was that glaring absence and void of Quinyon Mitchell. There was that catch earlier in the game that Demarcus Robinson took right out of Rodgers' hands. It was a beautiful catch. Nothing more you can say about it, but it's one of those things that you hope Quinyon is okay and he's able to play next week, because these snow games are fun. Snow games are fun if your team isn't in it. If your team isn't in it. But then you had that drive where the Eagles forced 2 back-to-back turnovers on the Eagles, or on the Rams. You had the punch out from Jalen Carter from the back that Isaiah Rodgers picked up, and then you had the fumble caused by Nolan Smith on the strip sack. That was the Zach Bond drive. That was the Zach Bond drive on defense. He was everywhere, and then he recovered. He recovered that fumble, and that's where I thought the weather, the defense started to click. Fangio really started bringing the pressure in that fourth quarter and used the weather to his advantage. right? That's why he's one of the best. That's why this Eagles defense is the best in the NFL. Or certainly the best defense remaining in the playoffs. So, and it showed on that drive. And this is a defense that is missing Nakobe Dean. They missed him tremendously. Zach Bond had the green dot. He's not used to having to be the play caller. That was Nakobe Dean. And so I was very interested to see how Zach Bond was going to respond to that sort of responsibility. And he stepped up to the plate. Elliott, the second half was huge with the field goals. He had the field goal to make it 16-13. He had the field goal to make it, what was it? 19-15 after the Eagles gave up the fumble, or not the fumble, the safety in the end zone, excuse me. Gallimore got the safety, and that was to me, and I'm going to spend a minute on this, that was bad play calling from Kellen Moore. And guys, you're watching First and Feathers on Stream Punk Entertainment. Whether you're watching it on Twitter, whether you're watching it on Facebook, whether you're watching it on YouTube, comment and tell me how you guys think about this Eagles win and them going to the NFC Conference Championship game against the Commanders. But Kellen Moore, he had some interviews this past week on Friday, nonetheless. And so I feel like that went into a lot of this play calling. It was some pretty bad play calling, not bad play calling, but just lack of creativity, in my personal opinion, of play calling. And so hopefully that changes next week. Hopefully there's no interviews that he is taking on, and he can focus on a very serious NFC East NFC championship game, right? Um, I just thought the play calling was very vanilla, not nothing fancy to it. You had a few um deep passes. Lake, I thought he slipped on that Goddard pass, that big 31-yard pass that Goddard had to get him down in deep into the Rams territory. But then I thought Lake was going to make up for it, and I thought he was going to get a pick in the end zone. I thought AJ Brown or Jalen Hurts really forced it there on that pass to AJ Brown, but they got away with it. They got away with it. Yeah, that's that defense and what Fangio did. He called a lot of pressures. He called a lot of um linebacker blitzes, especially in the end. Especially in the end. Jalen Carter, I think that sack that Jalen Carter got at the end of the game was the biggest play. I mean, this guy never comes out of the game, ever. He constantly is double teamed all throughout the game. And then when he's not, he's getting to the QB. He's getting sacks. He's getting pressures. Or he's batting the ball down. It was special to see this defense step up in critical moments of this game. It was special to see Elliott step up in crucial moments of this game and hit field goals where his confidence has been low this season from 50 out. His extra points, his extra point kicking hasn't been that top notch, obviously. His defense, they got that sack on Hurts. And there is about 2 drives that this really, really looked like it was going to slip out of the Eagles' grasp because he didn't look like he could move. They put him in that bad position in the safety, taking that safety in the end zone with that play action play. I just thought it was why that deep in the end zone, in your own territory, in your own end zone, why risk it? And you saw what happened, and he did a great job at holding on to that ball, because otherwise that's at least 6 points, if not 7, and we're having a very different conversation here. So his injury is going to look. Dan Quinn, the Commanders head coach, Dan Quinn is a defensive minded head coach. So don't think that he's not going to see that. In the last game that the Eagles and Commanders played, Hurts was gone after 12 plays. So something to look at, something to keep an eye on throughout the week with this injury report for sure. But then Saquon breaks it loose for the 78-yard touchdown, and I thought that was it. I thought that was we were done here, right? But we weren't, because the Eagles go into, I talked about it earlier, the Eagles go into prevent defense in a sense and almost just let the Rams and Stafford march down the field. I mean, you can't let Stafford march down the field like that. He's one of the best. And you gave him free range. Parkinson gets the touchdown, and then Hurts takes that horrible sack. They give a handoff to Saquon. He gets like 4, and then they got to punt the ball. They got to punt the ball away. And like I said, it was Jalen Carter and that defense that came up big in those final minutes when Nakua made that gigantic, massive catch to get them down deep into Eagles territory. And then Jalen Carter and that defense came up big. Darius Slay, who had a pretty good game in the first quarter. He was everywhere, constantly seeing him pass deflection, making big hits to cause the pass breakup, to cause the incomplete passes. It was kind of like a flash from the past with him. And he's had a great playoff run so far in these games. Where do the Eagles go from here, knowing what special run Jaden Daniels is on, right now, and what the Commanders are on? This is going to be a slugfest on Sunday. I believe it's at 3 p.m. Let's see. I believe this one's at 3 p.m. But this is going to be a slugfest of two teams playing each other for the third time. Both, yep, Eagles Commanders, 3 p.m. Sunday. Both have got a win on each other, both at their respective homes. You have a rookie who is going to win Rookie of the Year for sure, Offensive Rookie of the Year, and is going to. He is so poised and calm and cool under pressure. Nothing really phases him. You saw it last night. Every time the Lions would come down and it seemed like they were making a score, or the Lions would come down and get a score, he'd answer. He is almost quite near Lamar Jackson and how Lamar Jackson was in his rookie year and what he's bringing. But he can throw the ball. And this is where the injury to Quinyon Mitchell is going to be huge, because Isaiah Rodgers also left too with an injury. And that's his backup. So, yeah, McLaurin, you got Brown over there, Zach Ertz, Zacharias, or Zacharias, Zacchaeus, however it is. It is going to be interesting how this team prepares for the Commanders. You're going to have home field advantage. You're going to have the fans behind you, which is going to be that place is going to be rocking. Place is going to be rocking with a trip to the Super Bowl on the line. Right? Thought you're going to have to go play in a dome. Everyone thought that it was going to be the path to the Super Bowl was through Detroit or Kansas City. Nope. The road to the Super Bowl goes through Philadelphia now. I want to jump into these stat lines, these box scores. Jalen Hurts, 15 of 20, 128, no touchdowns, no interceptions, took 7 sacks. How about the Rams defense? Shout out to the Rams defense. And I said it about Jared Verse. Jared Verse was great tonight. That Rams defense, how a 9-sack performance against Minnesota, turns around and comes out and gets a 7-sack performance tonight. But what Minnesota didn't have, they didn't have Saquon. They didn't have a guy who can go 26 carries, 205 yards, 2 touchdowns, averaging 7.9 yards per carry. Incredible. Incredible. What an encore performance from week 12 when he had 255. So in one season against one team, against the Rams, Saquon had 460 yards and 4 touchdowns. Ooh. Jalen Hurts, 7 carries, 70 yards, 1 touchdown, 44-yarder. Not much to talk about in the passing game. Dallas Goedert, 4 receptions, 56 yards. Saquon, 4 receptions, 27 yards. Devonta Smith, 4 receptions, 21. A.J. Brown targeted 7 times. 2 drops, 2 receptions, 14 yards. And Kenneth Gainwell, 1 reception for 10 yards to go with his 1 carry for 10 yards. But this was a defensive game. Darius Slay, 6 total touchdowns. Our tackles. Zach Bond, 6 tackles. CJ 6 tackles. Burks, who's in place of Nakobe Dean, 6 tackles in some huge key plays, key stops on defense. Reed Blankenship, 6 tackles, total tackles. I mean, Jalix Hunt had a big sack. Ojomo had a big sack. Nolan Smith, huge sack. It was defense did what they needed to do. The offensive line that is giving me a little bit of a worry, but let's jump over to the Rams stat line. What do we got here? Stafford, 26-44, 324 for 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Kyron Williams had the big fumble, 19 carries, 106 yards. Puka Nacua, 6 receptions, 97 yards, a couple drops. Demarcus Robinson had that big reception the first quarter, 3 receptions, 74 yards. And Cooper Kupp, 5 receptions, 61 yards. Tyler Higbee, 7 receptions, 51 yards, and the touchdown. And then Colby Parkinson had the other touchdown. Stafford had 2 fumbles, 1 lost. Kyron Williams had the other fumble. But this defense, he had a sack from Speets. He had a sack from Turner. He had 2 from Verse. Sack from McCullough. Sack from Gallimore. That's the safety. Fisk had a sack. I mean, these guys were all over the place, but now they get to be on vacation. So, guys, I'm about to wrap this one up. Appreciate you, the 52 viewers that we had watching. That you're going to do this again next Sunday. It won't be me. It won't be me. I'm going to plan on trying to be down at the link for this one. So it'll be someone else next week, either Mitch or Pat, checking in with the First and Feathers post-game show for the NFC Conference Championship with a trip to the Super Bowl on the line in New Orleans, February 9th. Whew. Thank you guys for tuning in. Birds get the win, 28-22. Commanders coming in to town next Sunday, 3 p.m. Guys, make sure you go ahead and follow me at Soldier Steve 247 if you don't already. Make sure you follow every platform on StreamPunk, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, Instagram. Make sure you follow the New Pennsylvania channel as well. All right, guys. So thank you for joining, and go Birds.